Saray! Are you talking to yourself?
My friends are here with me.
Huh?
They're, seraphim.
Is this a bad time? Should we come back? Hey!
Just try and focus, Rose.
Rose, can you hear?
Yeah, easy, Rose.
Rose, please, just calm down. I'm not hearing this! Let go! Let me go, you idiot!
Rose, listen!
Here goes. Uh-oh.
Hello, as always, I am Cosmic, and today I'm going to be reviewing Tales of Zestiria, a JRPG which was co-developed by Bandai Namco Studios and Tri-Crescendo. The Tales series has now spanned 2 decades, most of which the games have been made for consoles. As a huge fan of the Tales series, I was so glad to see that this latest release has come to PC, and hopefully this will be the start of more Tales games coming over to the PC market. Tales games similar to other famous JRPG series, such as the Final Fantasy series, has had a good share of both bad and good games. Personally, my all-time favourite Tales game was 2008's Tales of Vesperia, which I sunk a good portion of that year into, playing it several times over. It should be noted that due to the franchise's console history, Tales of Zestiria is no exception to this, and it is a PC port rather than a native release. The port is not a bad one per se, however there certainly could have been more options in the graphics department, and the game is locked at 30 frames per second. But what's most noteworthy of mentioning is the controls. The keyboard and mouse controls are okay, however in combat the hotkeys can feel odd and they're not particularly intuitive. I do recommend playing the game with a gamepad to get the optimal experience, since the game was built ground up for use with a controller. Characters and story have always been a huge part of what makes the Tales franchise great and ultimately alluring. Without it giving any spoilers away, I will say that it took me quite a while to warm up to the protagonist, Saray. His youthful innocence and naivety was at points very annoying compared to that of the dark, complicated personality of Yuri in Tales of Vesperia. Saray himself is a human that is among the few in the entire world who can see, interact and talk with invisible beings known as the Seraphim. While at the beginning Saray as a character was pretty grating, after a slow introduction to the story, world and characters, Saray and his group really start to grow on you in a big way. Throughout the game, you're forced to make tough choices that, while they don't have an effect on the game's progress, they do have an effect on the characters, which I eventually found myself really invested in. The story itself is told well, with big twists and revelations rearing their heads later on in the story. What makes Zestiria for me, however, is the array of characters that not only join your party, but those you also meet along the way. While I certainly don't think they are as interesting or indeed as memorable as those in Vesperia, there are some great and well written characters in there, such as Edna, who first looks like your atypical cute anime girl trope, but then turns out to be a sarcastic troll, or Dezel, who is a steampunk themed hothead. This particular band of personalities will sure to stick in your mind for some time to come. Graphically, Zestiria looks amazing, with a fantastic anime art style that makes the world look vibrant, but it also oozes darkness when it needs to. The world and its characters look great. Barring a few odd frame rate drops here and there, I encountered very little issues on the visual end. The level design is not too bad, however many dungeons and areas seem very linear and corridor-like. There is exploration to be had, however even the more open areas don't look or feel very open. The game's musical accompaniment gives off a great medieval feel, offering a great variety of music that fits perfectly into the setting. The voice acting of the characters too is top notch. It does get a little bit weird sometimes, however for the most part the voice actors do a great job. Zestiria's combat system focuses on action-based combat that uses the art system, which basically denotes different attacks. Combat is very simple to pick up, and having semi-auto control system turned on can make it even easier, which makes combat all about button bashing, especially on the easier difficulty settings. While the system is simple to pick up, combat actually has a lot of depth to it, with elemental types, different types of art, and the armatization system in which Sorey combines with a Seraphim, similar to a Dragon Ball Z style fusion. All these facets of combat work in harmony and give way to different tactics in battle. Mix in the fact that enemies can be resistant to different types of attacks and elemental types, and that they themselves have different battle tactics, you're left with some very engaging combat that will satisfy all different types of people. What I like about the combat compared to the previous Tales games is the switch between the overworld and the combat is seamless. Gone are the set battle arenas that you instance into. Instead, combat takes place wherever you are on the map. Enter a battle into a doorway and that is exactly where you'll fight. And I love that, however, it does kind of have one god-awful fatal flaw: the camera. The camera is awful in combat, particularly in dungeons or in closed spaces, and it will frequently spaz out or face the wrong way against a wall, leaving you fighting blind. The automatic camera becomes more than just annoyance. Especially in tough fights, it can actually cause you to lose the battle because you just cannot see what the hell you are doing. On top of the art system and the armatization system, equipment plays a big role in combat effectiveness. However, it does not have a straightforward linear progression. Each piece of equipment has special effects attached to it. These can be stacked, and two pieces of the same equipment can in fact have different effects. Items that are the same, such as two amber swords, can be fused not only to improve the basic stats, but also gain unique status effects. This in turn can make old equipment far superior to basic new equipment due to the effects that a fused item brings to the table. Now, while the world is vibrant and the story is engaging for the most part, the navigation system did frequently become a problem. While the maps were easy to understand, often you're told to go to a place that you've never been before without any clear direction. A star icon guides you to the most important main story events, but that icon only shows up if you're in the correct area, meaning you can literally travel in the wrong direction for a good amount of time before realizing that it isn't the right way. Thankfully, the traditional JRPG save point system can also be used as fast travel locations, making going back and forth much less of an annoyance. Now, don't get me wrong, Zestiria does have its problems. Its linear level design, navigational problems, camera issues and more. That all being said, however, it does lessen the impact of these issues by having a wonderful art style and a compelling story, even if it does take a while to take off. Zestiria is similar to the other great Tales games, in that you will find the more you put into the game, the more you'll get out. It's a case of, if you enjoy JRPGs and enjoy making a serious time investment into the story and breaking past those slow starting stories, what you'll actually uncover is a wonderful story filled with likeable and relatable characters. There's emotional moments, silly fun bits that make you smile, and some holy crap I can't believe that just happened points. But like most long-form JRPG stories, it takes time to really get into, and it is really worth finding those side missions that contain the lore of the world, that give you a better and clear understanding of the main story. I think ultimately it comes down to this: if you're a fan of the Tales series, or just of a JRPG in general, Zestiria is perfect for you. It's up there with some of the best Tales games there has ever been, and it will be worth the investment for you. That said, if you are not a fan of JRPG stories with all their genre-specific odd bits and eccentricities, then it's probably not going to be the one that breaks the mold for you. For me personally, while it isn't as good as Vesperia was, Zestiria is certainly one of my favourite Tales games of all times, and I certainly recommend it. It is a great story filled with great characters and great combat. At the very least, I hope that Tales games start coming to the PC, and at the very most, I really want a re-release of Tales of Vesperia for PC, because that would be phenomenal. That has been my review of Tales of Zestiria. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Do like, subscribe and share this video, and I will see you next time.